Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 67. Alright, folks, so I'm in the middle of Valley of Fire State Park right now. I had to screenshot the article that I'm going to read tonight and save it to my phone. That way I can read it over here at my campsite and then cruise all the way back to this Wi-Fi zone that they got over there and log on so I can upload it for you folks so we don't break our streak here. So I'm not going to be long-winded tonight. I know some of you are happy about that, I'm sure. We're going to jump into the article in 1 second, but I have to tell you, if you are into camping and you enjoy that kind of stuff, you got to get out to Valley of Fire here in Las Vegas. Right outside of Las Vegas, it's in Overton. It is absolutely fantastic. We're at a pretty secluded campsite right now. Hardly anyone around us. A lot of RVs, but as far as people camping actually at the campsites, hardly anyone around us. So, if you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. Alright, so let's dive into these articles and see what's up. It is an article from Jezebel, and, well, I kind of screenshot the headline out of there, so we're going to have to go with no headline here. In a recent interview with Glamour, 5 of the women who have come forward to accuse Jeffrey Epstein and his former girlfriend Ghislaine Maxwell of sex trafficking and rape, among other crimes, say they're tired of the labels like sex slave used to describe what they went through. Can you blame them? I mean, who wants to be known as a sex slave? It's bad enough you're a trafficking victim. Now, it's a sex slave is also in the cards. Nobody wants to be known as that. How can you blame them for not wanting that label? Sarah Ransom says she was 22 and trying for a job in the fashion world when Epstein allegedly invited her to vacation on his private island and sexually assaulted her for the 6 months she was trapped there. I mean, are you trapped there? Think about that for a minute, folks. Put yourself in her shoes. How the hell do you think you would feel if you felt trapped on an island? I mean, she also said to somebody, I forget exactly who, but she was talking about swimming off the island, but the fear of sharks kept her from doing that. She also says the language of media outlets commonly used to describe sexual assault made her hesitant to come forward. Oh. Sorry about that, guys. Hesitant to come forward. There were many times that I was going to come forward in the last 14 years, Ransom told Glamour, but the one thing that really, really upset me was the phrase sex slave. It is so horrible. Jeez. So, I'll make sure I won't be using that terminology anymore. Even when they use it in these articles, I'll be skipping that and I'll add something else to it because it's pretty, if that's bothersome to these girls, well, we definitely won't use that stuff around, that terminology on this podcast. Virginia Roberts, who says she was 16 when she was introduced to Epstein by Maxwell while working at Mar-a-Lago Spa, balks at the term, saying it both minimizes and sensationalizes the years of abuse she suffered at the hands of both Epstein and his friends. Remember, this is important. Language is important, right? His friends. Language is a huge importance to this topic, Roberts said. I mean, are we sex slaves? No. Are we victims of sexual abuse and trafficking? Yes, we are. Yeah, well, 100% right. Again, she's 100% right. That's exactly what they are. They're sex trafficking victims. They've been trafficked. They've been abused. And sex slaves, I don't know. I never really liked that terminology anyway. It didn't really fit, right? It didn't fit what was going on. They might have been slaves, and I guess Sarah Ransom was held against her will, but it was more of a mental slavery than anything, right? The power he had over them mentally because he was able to wield tremendous power. If he wanted to keep them from having a career, well, no career. If he wanted to further their career and they were a model, bang, he'd just call his boy Les Wexner and they'd be walking on that Victoria's Secret runway, wouldn't they? So that's a man with severe power. This is the kind of predator that is the most dangerous in my opinion. A man with this sort of power that wields that kind of power and runs in those circles and calls the people that he called friends, that is a dangerous individual, folks, and that is an individual that needs to be off of the streets, okay? Glad he's dead. I've said it a million times. I hope he burns in the deepest pits of hell. But the fact of the matter is he needed to stand trial, and he needed to give these girls the justice. They should have had the justice and the I don't even know the word I'm looking for right now, but they should have been able to feel what it's like to watch this man go through the ringer and be embarrassed in public, and everybody that's involved would have came out in this as well, right? Everybody involved would have been called before the carpet. They would have been called on the carpet when that docket was opened and discovery happened. But here we are, right? Either A, depending on what you believe, it was a tremendous failure at the jail cell and he was able to kill himself, or B, he was killed in federal custody, which any way you chop it, either way, it's a huge letdown of the system and a huge letdown to these girls. Such a failure, right? A system-wide failure. According to the survivors, these distinctions are important because a term like sex slave might garner clicks, but it does nothing to lessen the taboo around talking about sex trafficking. And to end rampant abuse, Roberts hopes to enable conversations that make ending sex trafficking as common a cause as ending drug smuggling. We're happy to say, oh my God, did you hear that? They seized 10,000 kilos of heroin overnight, or something. That's not taboo. That's not taboo. But why is it so scary to say sex trafficking is a $100 billion industry? We should be talking about it at dinner parties, and we should all be thinking of how to initiate a change in the response from other people. 100%. If there's ever been a topic that needs to be addressed at this point in time, it's obviously this. We live in an era of Me Too and this, that, and the other thing, but yet we have a stark silence from the majority of people. Everybody that was going crazy for, 3.5, 4 years, 5 years now, where are they? Where are the people marching in the streets? There should be 1 million people marching in the streets for this. I'll tell you what, people march for this, I'll be marching with them. And while public acknowledgement of what they went through is important to the survivors, justice is the main priority. Hallelujah. That is the main priority for us as well. I know everybody listening to this show, that's what we all want. We want justice. We want these people to finally answer for the shit they did. Because we all know if it was you or I, or someone we know, Uncle Joe, your buddy Mike, your friend Steve, your cousin Grace, it wouldn't matter. They'd all be in big, gigantic, huge trouble. So why are these people not? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell even talking about, oh, I'm going to do an interview with American TV? No, you're not. You're doing an interview with the FBI. You're going to jail, and that's the end of it. Though Epstein died by suicide in jail, allegedly, Maxwell is still free, as are dozens of others accused of sexually assaulting the women Epstein allegedly trafficked, some as young as 14 and 15. I'm sorry, Ransom said. I don't need to see acknowledgement. I want to see, actually, people go to jail. I want them in prison. That's what I want. And that is what we want, Miss Ransom. So we're standing shoulder to shoulder with you. Everybody that listens to this podcast, we all want the same thing. Everybody from Dublin, Ireland, where I get emails from, all the way down to Australia, where I get a ton of emails and a ton of listeners from. Everybody wants the same thing. These people need to go to jail, and there's no two ways about it. There's no middle ground. There's no plea bargains. There's no maybes. There's no sorries. There is only punishment, pain, and prison. Because, let's see here. Ransom also noted that just because blah, 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 from Glamour, because these people, they're still a danger to the public. I mean, they're still walking the street. I don't want recognition. I don't want a pat on the back. I don't want to be heard. I want something. Ghislaine Maxwell is still walking the streets. Jean-Luc Brunel is still walking the streets. It's not good enough just to be heard. Meanwhile, Maxwell, the wealthy daughter of a British media magnate that the New York Post describes as an accused madam, remains in hiding, but is reportedly in talks to do a sit-down television interview. The second, you know how they do the Chris Hansen, the old To Catch a Predators? That's what they should do. They should have it set up so Maxwell thinks she's walking into an interview with Amy Robach, since she's such a great journalist who likes to squash stories. Maybe Maxwell thinks she's getting an easy deal. She walks into an interview with Robach, and instead of that, there's 10 FBI agents waiting for her, subpoenas in hand. Boy, wouldn't that be fantastic? Wouldn't that be a day to remember? All right, folks, so that is our article for the night. Like I said, it's from Jezebel. And I'm not going to do anything else because I have, like I said, limited service. It's pretty rough out here right now. It's cold as hell, too. So one article is all we're going to rock with tonight. I will do the morning update tomorrow morning around the usual time. And I'll be back home in the bunker tomorrow morning-ish. And I'm going to release those 2 pieces of information that are very interesting in this case about the banker, Thomas Bowers, and the other thing that I don't want to spill the beans on yet. I want to keep you guys in suspense for a couple of more days. No, I'm just kidding. It'll be tomorrow. I'm going to release both of those, the information that I have and the research I've been doing. I'm going to release that stuff tomorrow afternoonish. I don't know when I get home. I'm not going to be doing much, but besides working on the podcast, so it should be no later than the evening that I'll have both of those out and ready for you folks to listen to. And then from there, obviously, we're going to keep following those threads because I think they're important. It's very important that everything we look at is in context. It's very important that everything that we research is something that's, based in fact, and we're not, chasing things down that are ridiculous or information put out there by disinformation agents. And let's keep our eye on the ball and our nose to the ground, right? Because we all know that 2020 is the year to turn predators into the prey. And, I know I keep saying that, but it's fact, right? That's what these girls want. And that's what our goal is here on this podcast. We just want justice. We want to see justice. We want these people arrested. We want these girls to be able to rest their heads at night on their pillow for once in their lives and know that the people that did this to them are paying the most severe price that is possible under our law. If you would like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. If you'd like to support the show, there's a link for the GoFundMe in the description box. To all of you who have supported the show so far, thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of all the support so far from you guys via emails and, just everything. It's overwhelming and very humbling. So I will be back tomorrow morning, like usual, and hopefully this episode comes out. The sound isn't too bad, and it's not too punchy, and it's not too underproduced. But like I said, I'm in the middle of the wilderness. I can't even believe I have service. So I'm dedicated to make sure that I get these episodes out to you guys every single day, at least one. And I didn't want to break the streak for the daily drop. So here we are, folks. All right, I'll talk to everybody tomorrow. I hope everybody had a fantastic night.